Welcome Sachin. Thanks so much for sparing your time for us. To start off, what were the reasons that prompted you to migrate to the cloud? And what were the biggest challenges that you faced? Please share the story with us.
Just to share, we are not new to the cloud, and this was whatever we have done recently. This was not the first experience for us. We are using cloud almost from last 14 years. And when I say from last 14 years, obviously you did not see more as an application as a service or maybe platform as a service as a cloud service, but we are mainly using infrastructure as service from quite some time, and that has been the delivery model for our client-facing solutions. And we never used anything inside our data center to host applications for our clients. It was always on the cloud for us. Mm-hmm. And in between also we tried some of the applications such as Salesforce and some of the other applications which we were consuming from the cloud. Mm-hmm. But what we have done in last 4 or 5 years is actually the game changer for us, and we have changed the way we used to operate. So that has been changed considerably, not only from a manageability perspective, but from the cost perspective, the overall the operability of this cloud solution. That has actually helped us a lot, and it's not an easy journey. And as you have asked for some of the challenges, and as I think everybody faces those challenges whenever there is a change. Now, whether it's a change in terms of moving from a physical to cloud, or maybe doing any change in IT, any change is disruptive, and you have to manage that very well. And how you do that effectively is the sort of a key to success for some of these migrations. And we also had those challenges right from users to business to some of the key stakeholders in the organization. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of questions, and in fact a lot of people ask in business about the roadmap. Mm-hmm. What is your strategy going to be? CFO's office was asking about the cost. How do you want to look at the cost? Are you going to save? Because from their perspective, it was the money saving. They asked, are you going to save money? And then from a user perspective, it was, what kind of changes you're bringing? Are they going to benefit us, or are they going to be more complicated? So some of these things came our way, and then we had to define a strategy, and we took a sort of a step-by-step approach, where we looked at some of these workloads, I can say, which we wanted to migrate in a phased manner. And as I said, the client service delivery model was always on the cloud. There was nothing big which we have to change. Though we changed that also, slightly. But the biggest change was where we moved some of the key workloads which we were managing in-house from a long time. For example, our messaging and collaboration platform moved to the cloud. Some of our internal applications also moved to the cloud, and our entire analytics platform also moved to the cloud. So some of these things actually changed the way we used to operate.
Let's talk about money. The ROI factor. Share with us your story on how you looked at savings when you migrated to cloud computing.
That is also a very interesting question, and that has been a sort of a decision point also for us, why and how and when we should move to the cloud. When we started looking at some of these aspects, that there are a few things which we can migrate to the cloud. And during the initial journey, a lot of people said, okay, there are these things, we should look at it. And the cloud was maybe the buzzword that point of time, and then people just started using it. But you need to look at the right time for your own organization. You can't just say, okay, some of these things are happening in the market and you should go and adopt it. So you need to define a complete strategy, and then you need to look at, okay, what are the different areas where it makes sense, where you can create an ROI. And it should be a clearly defined and achievable targets. You can't just say, okay, I want to probably move, let's say, messaging and collaboration platform to the cloud without looking at the ROI, without looking at just the manageability aspect. You need to look at all aspects. What users are going to get it, what business is going to get it, and what is in it for you and for example, for IT team. And these are the factors which will help you define the roadmap as well as the key decision making point. And an ROI has been very, very positive for us, and we have been able to meet all those targets so far. And there was a clear measurable ROI which we have seen in last 4 or 5 years, whatever decisions we have taken. But as I also said, it's a sort of a step-by-step approach. You cannot do all these things together at the same time. Though obviously you could look at some of these benefits, but you cannot achieve these benefits in one go.
You have been a big votary of the business aspect of cloud computing, and eValue Serve is a big KPO in this domain. How has migrating to the cloud helped in enhance your business?
As I mentioned, see, we've been using cloud from the day one. It has been almost 14 years for us in this business, and the delivery model for clients has been always in the cloud. So we are now looking at it. How do we actually use it? Maybe with a lot more other features, and how effectively we can deliver our services using maybe the way cloud is changing. What are the different things? For example, mobility is another aspect which is getting merged with the cloud, and this recent term which probably is doing rounds and which you may have also heard, SMAC, or social mobility, cloud and analytics. So all these things are actually playing a big role in the way some of these things are getting transformed. The cloud definitely is going to play a bigger role, and the way we do business and the way we actually deliver services to our clients. And some of the changes we have already started observing. The way we run our client delivery service platform, the way we run our analytics platform, the way we are looking at the mobility aspects, the way the applications, some of these things are changing so that it supports the mobility aspects. And then analytics again is a piece which we are again looking at it very, very seriously. So these things are obviously going to transform. It is happening right now, and it will, I think, continue for some more time. See, if you look at some of the key things which we have done in the last few years, we have transformed our entire data center, and some of the interesting things we have done, there were actually many physical servers, more than 100 servers, but we consolidated and virtualized close to 110 servers onto just 4 physical servers. That we did, and that was one of the success stories, and we have some case studies also around it. Then after that, we virtualize our entire user work area with virtual desktops and coming into play. And anyway, the client service delivery model was always on the cloud. Then we also went into some of the internal applications, some of the key applications which we were running internally, and some of the applications which we thought is going to help our client delivery platform and the way this transformation which I just spoke a few minutes ago is going to happen. So those things, keeping those things in mind, then we also decided to build a secure public cloud, which is going to work in sync with our private cloud. So some of the next steps which we are going to take around it is to make these two clouds talk to each other seamlessly, and workloads can be shifted from one side to the other side. And so that will also address some of the issues or concerns some clients or maybe some business groups has around security and performance. If somebody wants, let's say, on-site, to move the workload to the on-site, somebody says, okay, I'm happy to move the workload to the cloud, we can do that seamlessly. Some of those things are happening, and lastly, some of the I can say the business critical applications. For example, this analytics platform which we moved. There are a few other areas which we are looking at it. Those are also moving to the cloud. So what we see in long term, that we manage what we should, and things which can move to the cloud easily without compromising on performance, security, and obviously on the costing side, then they should go to the cloud.
Let's come to productivity now. How has migrating to the cloud enhanced the employee productivity in your organization, since they are also a big influencer in such decisions?
Let me give an example from this analytics platform which we have moved. Earlier, this platform was hosted inside our data center in India, and there were a lot of challenges in terms of performance and in performance even locally, and performance when people were trying to access it from outside. And with now this entire setup on the cloud, there are no concerns around performance. There are no concerns around even hardware upgrades. There are no concerns around the accessibility. There are no concerns around security. And people are happy. There are no downtimes. And if you look at the overall productivity, and if I look at the number of escalations I used to have earlier, about I can say about 1.5 years ago, vis-a-vis now, there are 0 escalations. So that itself shows the environment has become more productive, because people are spending more time in the deliverables, not in escalating issues. So that is one. And second, the biggest change which happened last year was the movement of this messaging and collaboration platform. That has also helped us increase the overall productivity efficiency at an organization level. And there were a lot of challenges earlier. We did not have some of the tools also with us, which we get as part of this new platform, and people are able to use it that efficiently. And we took some of the sessions. I myself took sessions almost all offices globally, and people are excited, very excited to see some of these features and how they can use these features efficiently, and how they can change the way they used to work, and how they can break that legacy. And when people open to some of these changes and some of these newer technologies, then I think it's very easy to drive some of these efficiency related projects, where people can see benefits, where people can see some of those efficiency gain coming in, and so that they can also translate. And we are a research and analytics company. We do all these calculations day in, day out, and people are very good at calculating some of these benefits, that how much time they were spending earlier and how much time they spend now. So we have seen some of these analytics around, not only this, but around some other applications which we have migrated to the cloud, and they are clear benefits.
So you have multiple offices in multiple countries. Do you see a sort of segregation in the cloud uptake? Some people are more inclined while some are more reluctant.
See, you'll find all kinds of people around. Some people will be very excited, and some people are very open. And some people will say, okay, I want to understand these changes first, then only probably I'll move. And you'll also find some people, irrespective of what you give to them, they'll always say no to changes. They'll say, okay, whatever I'm doing, I'm fine. If things are running fine, let me not break it. But ultimately, you have to educate those users. And when you talk about the uniformity at an organization level, when you bring these changes at an enterprise level, you need to educate people. You need to show the real benefits. You need to talk about some of those the nice things which the changes will bring, and how their life will change. You need to give some examples. You need to show some case studies. Or probably when you bring this change, as I said, you go step by step. Probably you do not make change at an enterprise level. You make change, let's say, in 1 or 2 business groups, and show the real benefits. Then people can relate.
You spoke earlier about the private and the public cloud. What is your views on hybrid clouds? What are the needs, the challenges, and so on?
As I said, see, when you build that hybrid cloud, one thing which is very, very important, and we are currently working on it, that how do you transition workloads from private to public and public to private. And I've seen some of the companies who, in fact, including us, who are a bit paranoid about the security, and some of the clients will straight away say no to public cloud. They say, okay, I do not want my data to reside on the public cloud, irrespective of what kind of security controls you talk about. But obviously, in some situation, you are able to sell. and then clients are also happy, and they're happy about the cost, they're happy about the performance. But in some areas where you're not able to sell, those areas will always remain challenging, and probably in some of these situations you have to have a capability where you can show the capability of public cloud as well as the private cloud, so that it addresses concern on the both side. I've seen some failure also. I mean, not in my company as such, but I've seen some of the cases in the industry and with some of my CIO friends where things did not move in the right direction, and they gave up. They said, okay, these things are not going to work. So it has its own ups and downs, and it has its own set of challenges. It may work for some of the organizations depending on the kind of work they do, and it may not work for some of the companies, maybe because of various reasons.
Sachin, you have been one of the youngest CIOs in the Indian enterprise space, and you have seen cloud for a long time. So let's do some crystal ball gazing on what is the future of cloud computing, overall.
We've been using this cloud from last 14 years, and so does, I think, many other companies would have been using. I think it's a new shift where people look at it differently. People look at it, okay, how do I maybe shift some of the applications, or maybe some of the workloads which they can run not only on an infrastructure as a service platform, but maybe on a platform as a services, or maybe application as a service, which they can consume and pay as you go. And some of these things are very, very compelling reasons for some organizations to start using these services, because they know they need to pay for what they use. And for a lot of startup and small companies, this is actually a very, very good way to build their business and grow their business, because they do not need to allocate large IT budgets or large capex. They actually start using it from day, which is sort of a ready to use service. Things have transformed, things have changed a lot, and the way things were happening, let's say 5 years ago, we were also not so confident that how things will move on this journey to the cloud. And we also decided to go slow on this and see how actually things are unfolding. And in the last 5 years, I think a lot of things have changed and there's a lot of positivity in terms of how some of these things are unfolding onto the cloud platform, and how all these large companies, large technology companies are trying to offer services based on the cloud, and how people are eagerly waiting to use some of these services. I've seen both kind of stories around, and I think it is going to grow. And the way it has evolved, I think it is not going to stop. I think it would be interesting to see how some of these things will happen in a more maybe efficient way, more cost-effective way, and again, a lot of people have concerns around performance and security, how those things will be addressed with the time, maybe with a lot more, maybe the ecosystem around it. But in my view, I think it has evolved to a great extent, and some of newer things will happen around it.
Thanks so much, Sachin. It was a pleasure talking to you.